Meat City, baby.
Hello and welcome back to Meat City Gaming. JD here with another episode of Battle Bites here in World of Tanks. And today I have my first battle in the Leopard 1. This is one of the two Tier 10 German medium tanks that are in the game. The other one, of course, being the E50M, which is one of the first Tier 10 tanks I got. I think it was my second tank, might have been my first. So I've had that one forever. And that is a, well armored for a medium tank, bit of a bruiser, fun to ram in. And the Leopard 1, on the other hand, is a sneaky, scouty kind of sniper tank. Lightly armored, you don't want to be ramming things in this. And we're in a standard battle on Mirovanka, and I'm going to try to get myself into an early position here to do one of the things this tank does really well, which is spot the enemy team and try to stay hidden. So while I'm doing that, a little bit of background on this tank. I have done the previous two videos on the channel on the Leopard Prototype A, which is the Tier 9 tank that leads up to this Tier 10. And if you're trying to figure out how does the Leopard 1 compare to the Leopard Prototype, very, very similarly. They have almost an identical playstyle. To start with the gun, it's the same gun. You get a slightly better reload on the Leopard 1 than the Prototype, but other than that, almost identical. They're both very accurate. The DPM is good, not great. No autoloaders, no fancy tricks on this tank. In terms of hit points, you do get a nice little bonus to the hit points for the Leopard 1. I think it's an extra 150 that you get. And then you also get a tiny little bit extra view range and a tiny bit better camo. Your concealment range or whatever the stat is, it's a little bit better, again, in the Leopard 1 than the Leopard Prototype A. So they play very similarly. If you were asking me, is it worth the upgrade? If you told me I could be guaranteed a Tier 9 battle in the Leopard Prototype, or I would of course be in a Tier 10 battle in the Leopard 1, which would I pick? Yeah, I'm picking the Leopard Prototype. The slight increase that you get isn't worth the jump to Tier 10 in my opinion, but most battles in Tier 9s, or a good chunk of them anyway, you're gonna end up in Tier 10 battles. So you might as well have the Leopard 1. And there's a lot of quests I'm finding, these missions for the contracts for the mercenary tanks. There's a lot of missions that require Tier 10 tanks, or Tier 9 and Tier 10 tanks. So you want to have a roster of these anyway. And yes, the Leopard 1 is a very solid, good tank if this fits your playstyle, right? It is not an armored bruiser. It's not going to go toe-to-toe with anything. It is sneaky and nimble, and it's going to scout, but it also has a gun that can get itself out of trouble and clean up at the end of the battle if it needs to. So on Mirovanka, switching back to the battle, we can see things are not going very well. We have 0 kills on the entire team, and I am firing at one of these cancers of the game right now, the Centurion. I don't know how you say it. Is it the AVRE? Is it the AVRE? If you know, let me know in the comments below how you're supposed to say this thing, because I don't know, and they're everywhere, and they stink, and I'd like to say the right name when I'm cursing it every game, because they're just flooding the matchmaking. These are, of course, the Ultimate Battle Pass reward right now. So if you pay for the Ultimate Battle Pass at the time that I am recording this video, then you're gifted this tank for free. And I currently do not have it. I don't have the gold to get the Ultimate Battle Pass, but I might by the end of it. And should I get it then? Probably, if I do. But I'm certainly not going to dish out the gold with payment, with cash to get it. So I think there's 2, maybe 3 of these Centurions over here in the forest, and they're just wrecking face. And so this forest flank is falling very quickly, and I can see that the valley is also falling very quickly. This battle is turning into an absolute trash fest. So, all right, let's try and get something, and we'll shoot the upper hull plate up. Oh yeah, it's really well armored on top of having the big derp gun and being very mobile. Yeah, these things they're tough to deal with. So at least I did get around the side. I put a shot in. He unloads, and yeah, if you hit this thing anywhere, this is a really bad time to be playing your first game in the Leopard 1, because it is so lightly armored, and those things, I believe they're almost always shooting HE, or maybe it's HESH, and if they're hitting you anywhere, you are going to feel the pain. So we go down at the end of the battle, try to get a little extra damage in, but it is a sad result, both individually and for the team, in the first battle in the Leopard 1. Just over 1,700, 1,800, it looks like, combined damage. A couple of spots, a little bit of direct damage. Just, it was miserable. And you can see very quickly, it's going to be a 12-1 rout here in Muravanka. And that's pretty unsatisfying. So yes, when I commit to doing the first battle in these tanks, I am absolutely going to honor it. I'm not going to cherry pick the game, but we will go and then show at least a decent battle in the tank as well, so that we're not left with just that one really terrible battle as the basis for a video, because nobody wants to see that. So this is actually the very next battle. This is battle number 2 in the Leopard 1, and it is a standard battle on Westfield. And this is much more like it. Very wide open map with some bush locations. You can absolutely do some spotting in this map. You can use the mobility of the tank to get around. You see Westfield when you're in the Leopard 1, at least for me, yeah, I'm happy when I see that, because I know I'm going to be able to put all of the strengths and all of the features of this tank to work. So yeah, you can go and mix it up at the top of the hill to the west if you want, but I don't think that's the best way to go. It's a long trudge up that hill, and then you're just gonna be like poking the ridge line and trading shots. No, what you want to be doing is providing vision when you can for your team, especially when you don't have any light tanks, as is the case in this battle. So I want to get forward here and be careful, right? Sometimes they shoot down the middle of that valley. We don't want to get spotted and caught out, but nothing was there. And now we're into a nice advanced position. We've got our nose in a bush, and we're just providing a little bit of vision down and over the hill. We can see a tree fall, so we know there's something. Oh, that's actually an ally, so that's fine. But as they come up that far ridge, look at how far that view range is. Look at the gap from the dashed circle to the spot of the solid circle. That is the difference in view range and spotting range. It's huge. You have so much play in this tank. So there was an Iron Arnie that popped up there for a second. I think we did module damage, but we didn't do anything critical. I think we damaged his tracks, but we weren't even able to quite take them off because we didn't get any tracking assistance damage there. So we do have some allies that are kind of pushed up a little bit more aggressively than us, and they are outspotting us right now, which isn't ideal. Again, this isn't going to be the best game in this tank because we have some allies that are doing that. Fortunately, though, the M48A5 backs up. We're able to put a shot in, and you can see here, I don't think I have this tank fully kitted out yet, or I don't have the gun as the focus, right? So we're putting in a second shot. These are blind shots. We know he's still there. Okay, that one missed. He's out of the way. So you can get the reload on this tank to be better than what I have. I don't think I have the gun rammer or the advanced load or whatever it is that gives you the most reduction for the reload time. And there's an Iron Rain, and unfortunately I wasn't able to switch over to an HE round, but we put another nice shot in, and you can see the accuracy of this gun. It's really good. The aim time is good. It gets really accurate. And you could, again, I'm not focusing on that for this build either. So you could make this a sniper. You can make this a DPM machine, but I have enough tanks that kind of do that. I like auto loaders for that. I like this tank to be a scout, right? So I have extra view range, camo net, all that kind of stuff on it, not the gun features. And here we go again. We're far away. We're not getting spotted. We're able to shoot, put a shot into the side of the Yag Tiger. And are we going to reload here? Not quite. Well, a shot from one of my allies went in a split second before my shot did. And that's one of the other advantages to this tank, especially on the Leopard Prototype, and it carries over here to the Leopard 1. The shell velocity is so good. One of the most frustrating things, I've seen videos on World of Tanks computer, like the original game, and they don't have to lead their shots very much. Sometimes, right, in special circumstances, super far away, or a tank with a big derpy gun, right, they'll give a little bit of lead. But on console, you constantly have to give tons of lead because it's not just the shell velocity and all that, there's the lag time that's built into the game, right? You could have a tank circle strafing you at 10 meters in front of you and you're locked onto him, so you're aiming at the center of his tank from 10 meters away, you pull the trigger, you're going to miss, right? Because your auto aim aims for the center of the tank, and even that close until you pull the trigger, the game recognizes to fire the shell, you're gonna miss. You have to give lead even then. So things like sniping targets on the move is really difficult in a lot of tanks, but the shell velocity on the Leopard Prototype and the Leopard 1 is very good. So the amount of lead you have to give is much less, which in my view makes these tanks much more consistent in racking up damage in situations like that where the tank that you're trying to fire at is on the move. Okay, here we go. We've got one of these Centurions there, the AVREs or the AVREs. He was kind of stuck in that little valley. We put a shot in and one of our allies takes him out. And now we've got a Death Stalker in front of us who looks like he's sleeping. Boy, his gun is pointed right at me, and he's not pulling the trigger. I don't know, does that tank have an autoloader and he's just sitting there waiting for it to reload? I'm not familiar with that tank, and boy did he seem to be staring at me. It wasn't like his gun was facing the same direction of his tank. He was off center, looking right at me, but not pulling the trigger. So we got a little bit of free damage in there, and then I think one of our allies took him out. Oh, I really was hoping to come in and rush the artillery there and get a kill. I think that was one of the French, yep, the Batchat 155-58. Would have been nice to secure that kill. Unfortunately, just before we got there, one of our allies takes it out. But we can see, okay, the battle at least is in hand and is going very well this time for the team. Just a couple of tanks left. We saw there was another one of these Centurions up here. There's a T-110E4. And then I think there's a Russian heavy tank. Is it the Object 780? We'll see in a little bit here. So there's the T-110E4. We're aiming, and yes, as he turned his gun to the side, we got the side of the turret, and we are able to penetrate that. Do I have, I think it's a standard round loaded here. I don't think I put the premiums on. And yes, it's an IS-7 there as the final heavy tank. So I am going to, it looked like I was going to crest the ridge there, but I actually thought better of it. Let's go and get this Centurion. These things are such a pain, and if I can get a little vengeance on one, I would be happy to do so. And unfortunately, right before I pulled the trigger, I think that was an artillery shell that came flying in and took the tank out. So again, my vengeance will have to go unsatisfied, but we do crest the ridge up next to the IS-7, and fortunately he came up with his side straight on. We're able to get the side of his tank and put a nice shot in there and secured that kill to end the game. So again, a very nice team win there. We provided some spotting and some damage. Again, we weren't the focus of the spotting. I wanted to be more aggressive to really put this tank through its paces, but we had some aggressive allies. We secured that flank very quickly and without much resistance, and so that led to kind of a snowball. But hey, 2,630 damage in what was a kind of blah blah game, right? Wasn't anything special. 1,500 assistance on top of that. So that's all very good, and that leads to what is that? 2, 3.5, 4,000 combined. Just a casual 4K combined damage in the Leopard 1. And again, because this is a tier 10 tank, yeah, it's going to be hard to turn a profit in this thing. Without a premium account at the time, we did lose about 13,000 credits. But if we had a premium account, we would have made 10K profit. And again, for not an amazing game, that's nothing to sneeze at. When you're doing spotting damage and racking up those credits without having to actually fire the shells, all the better. And especially if you can stay away from the premium rounds, you're going to be in good shape with this tank, and it's going to have a chance to earn you some silver. But again, the point of your tier 10s is not to earn you tons of credits. So taking a quick look at the medals, we did get a Master Gunner for 5 armor penetrating hits in a row against enemy vehicles. Very nice whenever you can pull that off in a tier 10 battle. We did get the Fire 4 effect and a spotter medal. We did 1,000 spotting damage, so we did get that there. A little bit of the spotting for this tank, which is what I like to do with it, although nothing quite amazing in this battle. And then a Confederate. Yes, as we saw in all of those engagements, we went rushing in and then had the kill taken just after we put some damaging shots in numerous times. So we damaged a lot of tanks without a lot of kills. And for that, just over 4K combined, a 3rd class mastery badge. So I would think that this tank is going to be kind of in the middle of the scale of trying to get an ace tanker because it's not like a crazy autoloader. You're not going to have like those wild streaks. It's not super well armored, so you can't just like slug it out. But it does have the potential for like big spotting, big assistance damage totals on top of it doing cleanup at the end of the battle as well. So it's probably going to be a middle ground one. I haven't played enough to really get a sense of what that's going to be like though, so I don't want to make any hasty conclusions just yet. And then we can see, unfortunately, yes, that was a mediocre game. We came in at the middle of the team, 7th on the battle, and that was 1,098 XP. So we did clear 1,000 XP for our 2 kills, 2,630 damage, 1,508 assistance damage. And again, this was my first 2 battles in the tank. I wanted to show the first one and then show a decent one. So hopefully the next time we see this tank on the channel, it will be in a much more prominent role in the battle. Before we go, a quick shout out to my teammates. Let's highlight Swiss Army Neil. in the UDES 16, putting up over 3,000 damage, and Lycan 95 in the TNH 105 1000. That was an interesting battle. Like, there's no superstar standout, just a bunch of nice, solid performances. We can see a bunch of 2,000 and 3,000 damages. Everybody had 2 or 1 kills. Nobody was really lighting up the scoreboard in any one particular category. It was just a nice, well-rounded battle for the team as a whole. And hey, that's great when that happens, and you don't have to worry about super stress or caring or anything like that. So hopefully you enjoyed this introduction to the Leopard 1. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.